So the St Paul's School from London, just by Hammersmith Bridge, if you're familiar with that part of the world. It's a private school, fee-paying school, and they are, well, probably the second fastest school crew at the moment in this country. Westminster, of course, won the national schools. St Paul's are bidding to go one better than Westminster here. And the men in the white boat from Radley College, Oxfordshire, finished 4th at the national schools, had a great race to get into the semi-finals. And you can hear the umpire's instructions to both crews. Let's just sit quietly with them for a moment and listen to the start.
Attention! Go!
Listen to the power and noise of those eights as they go off the start mat.
Absolutely. This is the most nerve-wracking time for Martin, and away they go. They're a bit sheltered by the island. They've just been down on the water, and there's suddenly, you can see on the water here, a gust of wind that's going to come in as they exit. You can see it right there, and it looks like a very clean start for both boats.
And you can listen to the coxes, that last-minute instructions just to get their boats absolutely straight. Radley have moved over, haven't they? The crew in the red and white blades, they've moved over towards their opponents and are now having to steer back out again towards their station.
Yeah, I've seen that with a number of crews. They hit that gust of wind. They're rowing pretty much stroke for stroke at the moment. There's some experience in this Radley crew. In the middle of the boat there, you've got the 5-man Charlie Ells, who rowed in this event previously and is looking to be in the top boat in the junior team. Some real experience there, but also complemented at 6 by James Murrell, who only began sweep oar rowing. That's rowing with 1 oar in the last year. So quite a big switch for him. But these are some of the top athletes in the country, and it looks like we've got an early advantage on the far side there with St Paul's. Both of them yesterday got timed within a few seconds of each other, similar kind of push, about a length and a half. Radley won yesterday with Boston College, and Edwards were beaten by St Paul's by 2 lengths, so hard to judge the form, but at this point they really are taking a little bit every stroke on the far side.
So, you heard how close it is, and at the moment it's the St Paul's, the London school, who have had a fantastic start. We're about a minute and a half into this race, ladies and gentlemen. If you're tuning in and watching for the first time, this is the Schoolboy 8 at Henley, the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, and St Paul's are really rowing beautifully well. They are leading Radley by almost the length, the Oxfordshire school in the white boat closest to us. And that's a pretty telling move at this early stage in the race, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, this is the critical point, getting from the sprint phase into the middle of the race and finding rhythm. It looks to me like St Paul's have established a very strong rhythm and a nice lead over Radley. Radley will now, most of the people in the boat won't be able to see the St Paul's crew. They feel they're even further ahead. And so it's a difficult time for Radley. They have to dig extremely deep and ask themselves the questions: how much do they want this? How hard are they prepared to row? How well can they prepare to row at this stage of the race?
So questions being asked of Radley College, the crew in the red and white blades. I can't tell you what this means to those boys, to their coach, John Gearing, and to the school to be in the semi-finals, have a chance of making the final of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup. And of course there, by implication, what it means to the St Paul's crew in black and white. And they are leading this race, coming down to the halfway point.
I mean, this is a very commanding position for St Paul's at this stage in the race. And, you know, they've had the chance to knock out a number of the other top British rowing schools through the regatta in the first round. Abingdon went out, and then Latimer went out, and then St Edwards went out to these St Paul's guys. And on the other side of the draw, racing soon after this, will be Westminster, the strongest, I think, of the school crews this year. And so they'll be hoping to be able to replicate this kind of form against them in the final, if they can get through, but there's all to play for.
And Matt, I think St Paul's are at the top of their game now. I think Bobby Thatcher has really brought them on since they finished second in the school's head behind Westminster. And at the front end of the stroke, where they put their blades in the water, they're actually getting a lot of grit and traction. It doesn't look aggressive, it looks kind of, you know, contained. They're letting their blades breathe on the front end, which means they're quite long in the water, and that's a lovely style that Bobby Thatcher's got them rowing.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of friends and family of crews are watching these videos on YouTube. Amazing footage, and if you don't know rowing very well, you've got to see that it's not a continuous flow and single speed of the boat. Every time the oar comes out of the water, the boat's at maximum speed, and the boys swing forward in the boat there, and it slows down. And you think about all of them moving towards the back of the boat's dipping and digging in the water every stroke. So the art is to apply the power smoothly, swing forward together and smoothly, and minimise that digging of the boat. And if you look from this shot, Martin, you can really see that St Paul's boat is not really moving up and down too much at all, which is pretty good for a junior crew to be able to do that so smoothly.
Beautiful. So at the top of your screen, it's St Paul's, the London school, leading by just a little bit of clear water. They've got that margin from Radley, and Radley are going to have to battle into this headwind if they want to make the final of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup. And these are two private schools, but if you think rowing is all about posh people and posh schools, you'd be wrong, because the coach of this school, Bobby Thatcher, is about as workmanlike as they come. He really had to struggle to get into the sport with Quinton, and his dad, Ross Thatcher, who's here as a boatman, really did have to help him. And I know Bobby Thatcher's really concerned about just how expensive it is to row at the top level for juniors like him who didn't have enough money, and it's fantastic to see characters like Bobby Thatcher in the sport, coaching young men like this to the heights of excellence you can see.
Yeah, if you're watching the regatta and you can see the colour around and lots of people there fancily dressed, one of the great things about Henley is the stewards have a charitable trust that puts a lot of money back into the sport, into development of junior girls and boys. And one of the big differences in rowing, since you and I were both competing at the top level, Martin, is the breadth of athletes coming into the sport from all kinds of different backgrounds, which I think is wonderful. But also the chance for those kind of kids to row at an event like this, the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, first awarded in 1946 when the Princess Elizabeth, as then was, visited the regatta, the Royal Regatta, for the first time. So we're part of that history, and you can look down the winning crews to see the heritage behind it.
So the heritage of this event, and you can see the St Paul's school crew, who have got a great heritage themselves in schoolboy rowing, leading the way down just 100 metres or so from the finish line of this semi-final. There'll be a smile on the face of their coach, Bobby Thatcher. There'll be cheers from all their parents and relatives and all the old boys of the school in the crowd, and they will be pleased that Radley have been bettered. Lots of shouts for the Radley crew, very good to see them in the semi-final, but this race is about the polished nature of the St Paul's victory. They will go into tomorrow's final. We don't know who they'll face there yet. It could be Westminster, it could be Gonzaga from the United States. We'll see that race later this afternoon. St Paul's can afford to ease off as they cross the line, some 2 lengths ahead of Radley College from Oxfordshire. That's the first semi-final of the Princess Elizabeth over, Matt. Yeah,
well rowed to Radley, but it's very tough to be down there. Really held their form well, but I think St Paul's and Bobby Thatcher will be extremely pleased with that. Sets themselves up well for tomorrow's final.